Okay, welcome one and all to the newest episode of Polite Talk. Okay, first of all, I gotta address this real quick. Last time I said that this was episode 4 in the last episode. I'm pretty sure you caught this. It was actually episode 5, so I'm not gonna mess up this time. This is episode 6, guys, okay? I'm not going to make a fool out of myself again. Anyways, so here we are. We're in the hotel. This time I'm in Chicago, not in Atlanta. But it's time for a new episode of Polite Talk. So I just barely got to the hotel about an hour ago. And, well, you know, I had to call the wife and stuff like that, so that's why, I'm barely recording now. It's 9 p.m., 9:10 over here. But I wanted to talk to you guys about Monster Hunter Stories 2 Impressions. I played the demo a couple days ago, actually. I finished it a couple days ago, and I absolutely loved it, but I want to talk about it. I also want to talk about, I actually finished Monster Hunter Stories 1. So, I think I talked about it in last week's episode, but I really wanted to finish the first one before I actually start playing the second one. Now, I finished. So as of right now, I finished Monster Hunter Stories 1, the full game. I've beat the trial version of Monster Hunter Stories 2, and I've already purchased Monster Hunter Stories 2, the full version, which should actually be available probably tonight. I won't play it tonight, though, because I need some sleep for tomorrow. But either way, I'm freaking excited, bro, to play that game. So, listen, the trial version was flippin' gorgeous, okay? So I cannot wait to play the full version. I really, really love Monster Hunter Stories just because it's such a good freaking game. It's a mix of literally so many different kinds of turn-based RPGs, but it's an accumulation. It's like a love letter. It's just so good. For example, you got Dragon Quest in there. I mean, there's definitely Dragon Quest puns. If you play Dragon Quest, you know how punny that series is. The whole gaming franchise of Dragon Quest is all about freaking puns, bro. And dude, Monster Hunter Stories is absolutely full of puns. I mean, Navidu is the biggest one to blame for that. It's constant cat puns all the time. Well, all the felines in the game just cat puns all the freaking time. So it's hilarious. But not just that, but in terms of the turn-based RPG system, obviously there's a bit of Fire Emblem involved because of the rock, paper, scissors mechanic. In this case, it's the power attack, the technical attack, and the speed attack. And then power beats technical, technical beats speed, and speed beats power. And so it's a nice little grid, pretty fair sort of thing. And then there's other different elements. I mean, there's definitely a Pokemon-esque, obviously, as well. I mean, you're monster taming, you're catching monsters, monsties in this case. But there's also different elements of dragons, which it's all derived from the Monster Hunter world, the dragon, and there's the blast element, or I don't know what you want to call it, if you want to call it the element, but, well, it is the element. That's what they call it, yeah. So Yeah, but or when you're blighted, you know, you like blow up in like 3 turns or whatever, and it does freaking stupid amount of damage. Yeah, it's fun. But yeah, so I'm really glad I finished the first Monster Hunter Stories because I really didn't think I was going to, especially before Monster Hunter Stories 2 came out, which was my initial goal. Finish the first one, then play the second one. And so I'm really glad I finished it. I actually finished it today on my way over here on the plane. So yes, that was really fun. And I really like this whole connection with, because in Monster Hunter Stories 1, the original Monster Rider or whatever, I don't know if he's the original, I can't remember as of this moment, but he was Redden, Redden, Redan, Redden. And he was like the legendary, you know, hunter from back in the day or whatever. I don't know if it talks about you being related to him though, which is the whole idea from Monster Hunter Stories 2. But anyway, basically, Redden was a awesome dude back in the day, and that's in the first one, the first game. But in the second game, the one they talk about, you know, like as a legend, was your character's grandfather, which was named Red. So it's kind of the same idea from the first story to the second story in terms of, you know, like a legendary figure from the past that is helping you in a way. But it definitely seems like you were way more connected. Well, obviously, I mean, Red was your grandfather, so we know that, and we actually saw him in the trial version, which honestly looks so freaking cool, bro. Red looked so freaking cool. And so yeah, and then yeah, my character looks pretty cool too. You know, he's just a young chap, but I like the way he looks. He has hair, because I do not on the top of my head. On my face I do, and everywhere else on my body, but on top of my head I'm suffering a bit. But you know, that's how it is. Testosterone's pretty high, what can I say? Anyway, so dude, the game itself, this demo version, the trial version, it was basically all the complaints I had from the first one. They fixed it on the second one. And that's the thing. I didn't even have any complaints. I only had one complaint, and it wasn't even a complaint. Like, I literally just said because I talked about it in my demo version review on my gaming channel, Boppy Polite Gaming, if you want to check that out. From the first game's demo, I did a review on the first game's demo. But I talked about how with no voice acting, that it's harder to get people invested in your characters and your story. Now, for me personally, like I said in that video, it doesn't necessarily bother me because I don't expect there to be voice acting. All I'm saying, in a general sense, if you're trying to get more people involved into your story and more invested in the characters, voice acting is a key element. It's a key part of the game that would help with that aspect. So it's basically fully voice acted from what I could tell. And as of right now, I've been playing it on the trial version of Monster Hunter Stories 2. I've been playing it on the English setting. And honestly, I don't know if I like it too much. Kana is adorable. I mean, I like her voice. It's cute, you know. But Navidu's is pretty annoying. I don't like that voice too much. I mean, I get he's supposed to be kind of an annoying character, but for example, in Monster Hunter Stories 1, and again, it's not actual English or even Japanese, but Navidu sounds more like a more high-pitched tone, which fits with him so much better with like compared to Monster Hunter Stories 2, he sounds more of like a dopey character. I don't know what word I want to use, but he just doesn't sound. He sounds more dopey, bro. I don't know. It's like I kind of can see why he would sound like that, but I don't necessarily like it too much. So I want to try switching the voice acting to maybe Japanese, which obviously I love the Japanese voice acting, or Spanish. And Spanish is actually surprisingly really good in basically anything I've like recently been consuming, like entertainment wise. Like Spanish is surprisingly well voice acted. And I'm talking about like movies and specifically anime movies or anime in Spanish are really well done. I'm very impressed with it. Yeah. And what I'm saying is with Japanese stuff, because with American films, Spanish voice acting it's lacking quite a bit. So yeah, I don't recommend that. But in terms of anime, honestly, like for example, and I talked about this with my buddy Juice on our anime podcast, Papi and Juice. If you want to check that out, go ahead. But we talked about Dragon Quest: Your Story, which it's on Netflix, a Netflix original anime. And I've watched that movie in English, I've watched it in Japanese, and I've watched it in Spanish. And literally the best voiced version is Spanish. I'm not kidding. Ranking out of those three languages, it would be first Spanish, second Japanese, and third English. So, well done. So, yeah. Anyways, I want to try different voiced languages in the actual game, which again comes out tonight. Monster Hunter Stories 2. But yeah, man, I had a really good time with that freaking trial version, the demo version. Like, the graphics obviously are better, obviously because it's like better hardware, duh. So obviously the graphics are gonna get way better. But yeah, dude, the graphics are freaking gorgeous. The characters so far look absolutely stunning. I mean, Kena is bae, bro. She is my number one bae. And then this other chick showed up who knew Red, your grandfather, but she looks a little too young, so I'm a little worried about what her and Red, how they were affiliated. Hopefully it's like a father-daughter situation and not anything else. She looks pretty cute, but kind of seems a little boring as of right now. Kana's got attitude. I like her spice. I like her she's full of life and attitude, and I like her a lot. Plus, she's super cute. And then obviously Navidu, classic Navidu. And then the Chief. The Chief actually is pretty fun. I like him too. They always seem to have the Chief be somewhat of a silly character. But anyway, so yeah, I'm excited to freaking play the full game, bro, because this trial version was so much fun, man. Like I said, the graphics are gorgeous. The monsters just look great. The animations look amazing. I was playing mostly on my TV, on a TV with a Pro controller, and it really just all the inputs I would do, especially when the monsters were attacking or the character was attacking, just it felt so like with a lot of weight. It just felt good every time that the monster would attack or you would attack. It just felt good. It's a lot of weight. Like obviously it's the vibration of the controller, but it just felt so good. So yeah, dude, I'm super freaking excited to play the full version. The music was fun as well. Like I said, the voice acting was great. Even though I'm not a huge fan of the English version so far, but great nonetheless. Um, and dude, just the world so far. I mean, we're just in that little island as of right now. But even that island, it's got some pretty good sub pockets of like, you know, other areas, and they're pretty big, pretty good like sized areas, dude. Um, yeah, and then just like the whole ecosystem looks actually really gorgeous. You know, there's just everything just looks great. Like in the 3DS, you know, Monster Hunter Stories 1, again, it's very limited due to the hardware capability, but it's chibi art style, which I love chibi anyways, but you know, it was very, very basic. The world was still, you know, for a 3DS game, it was still absolutely gorgeous, but and the areas are huge, surprisingly huge, but obviously it wasn't as detailed as like this. For example, Monster Hunter Stories 2 is absolutely stunning. um, Obviously it's more like an actual Monster Hunter game in terms of the graphics, and when I say that, I mean that because I mean I've been playing Monster Hunter games for years now. I'm talking about at least 10 years. But my favorite one, you know, before Monster Hunter World, was actually Monster Hunter Tri on the Wii. I loved that game a lot. That was actually one of my first actual online experiences with other people. Um, and man, I had a blast, dude. That game was so much freaking fun. I loved it. Monster Hunter Tri, what a great game. Yeah, and then I've played some of like the PSP games and stuff like that, but I never actually beat them. Like Monster Hunter Tri is like the furthest I ever got in like a actual Monster Hunter game, until, like I said, Monster Hunter World came out, and I like went ham into that game. Still not as far as I'd like. I mean, there's definitely a lot of post game stuff that I'd like to still do, and you know, but I haven't played it over a year now, just because I have no time to do that. But anyways, and then I have played the first demo of Monster Hunter Rise, and my buddies are currently obsessed with it. But I have been waiting for Monster Hunter Stories 2, bro. And I know that Monster Hunter Rise has really good, really good reviews, and just like, you know, everything about it is, you know, really good feedback. Obviously the graphics aren't as good as Monster Hunter World, because it's just a whole different kind of hardware. But yeah, but basically what I'm trying to say is the graphics in Monster Hunter Stories 2 is more like a normal Monster Hunter game. Again, obviously because the hardware is much better, but it's just gorgeous, bro. It looks great. It looks great. And I just love the goofy nature of the actual game, and the world, and the characters, and the monsters. Just everything is just so just full of life, but like in a fun way, you know? It's not like, it doesn't take itself too seriously. I mean, even with just Navidu, you can just tell like it's supposed to be a silly game, you know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, obviously it's got some pretty like, I guess, mature moments in terms of like some dark stuff that might happen, or you know, just some silly things as well. But overall, it's a pretty silly game, and so, but it's really fun, dude. I'm basically just rambling right now, so I apologize. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm very excited to play the full version, and the trial version, I absolutely recommend anybody to try it, especially if you haven't tried Monster Hunter Stories 1 and you're thinking about just hopping into this one. Well, the good thing, first of all, let me just address this right now, is you don't have to play the first one to play this one. Because, like, for example, I mean, Navidu is from, you know, the first story, but in terms of a connection to that character, as of right now, I haven't really seen anything. We still don't know if, because I mean, Navidu does mention the Black Blight, you know, and how, because there's a similar thing going on with the monsters in this world. But, and you know, and he was saying, Navidu was just kind of saying, man, this reminds me of the Black Blight, but worse, basically. And the whole story is centered around Ratha, Guardian Ratha. And so there is some sort of connection to the first game, but really not significant enough from what I've seen so far to where, like, you know, you have to play the first one to play the second one at all. Because, like, it talks about Red being, you know, your grandfather and him being awesome and everything, and he was like this and that. He was super cool and everything, but we don't know if Red was supposedly the main character from the first game, for example. I don't think he is, because Navidu would probably know him. And we don't know how far into the future Navidu, you know, has moved on, or if he just kind of, I don't know. We don't. It's still a mystery. It's still a mystery with Navidu being there, especially after playing the first game. It's like, why is Navidu there? You know, there has to be Naviru. There has to be a good reason for him being there and not being by the first, you know, main character side. Now, I might be looking into this a little bit too much, but I mean, it's gotta somehow make sense. You know, it's like, was Red the old, you know, Navidu's old partner? Or did Navidu happen to show up on this island from another world after he maybe abandoned the first character? Or maybe they went on their own way because it was so peaceful? I don't know. But basically, what I'm trying to say is, you don't have to play the first one to play the second one. Yeah, I mean, as of right now, like, there's some connections, obviously. I mean, this is Monster Hunter Stories 2, you know, it's just obvious. But, dude, I would totally say just play this freaking game. Like, don't worry about having to play the first one if you don't want to. Now, I am contradicting myself in a way, because I literally am that person that would be like, nope, I have to play the first one first. Which, and let me tell you something, if you had to do that, go ahead and do it, bro. Honestly, go ahead and do it. And let me just say, honestly, in terms of mobile version, I am quite impressed with the mobile version. And so, if you want it to be convenient, I do recommend the mobile version. But I would say the best experience is probably the 3DS version. Just because it's more comfortable, you know. I like my new 3DS XL. But anyway, so yeah, fun stuff. That's how it is. And that's basically really all I have to say. I mean, I'm done with the trial version. I'm excited to play the full version. And now it's just really, yeah, let's take on the new challenge of freaking playing the game, bro, you know, the new one. So anyways, that's basically it, my thoughts. Yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to this episode. It's more of a quick one, honestly. I don't have much more to say, to be honest. But don't forget to like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Don't forget to give me a follow or subscribe if you're listening to the audio version. And yeah, we will see you guys next week. Hopefully, you know, all goes well and you give this trial a shot, or even just the full game. That'd be cool too. But anyways, this was Papi Polite on Polite Talk Podcast. We will see you guys next time. Peace out. Bye.